Hey, welcome back to Game Chambers. That's right, I think we're going to do autosave. Yeah, I'm Chris, and this is Wrath of the Righteous. So I had to think a little bit there for what I needed, why I didn't have a named save, and I believe that's because we just got destroyed by the gargoyles and I had to reload the autosave. Okay, so this might mean we're going to have to evaluate what we are going to do here. Because when we go in here, we get attacked by the gargoyles and they come at us from all angles. So let's pause a little bit and do a bit of pre-buffing. So that's 10 minutes. Duration, I don't believe there was any energy damage coming from the gargoyles. It's only a 1 minute duration. So Emerylda doesn't really have anything worth throwing out in advance. Throw out Veil of Heaven, that's worthwhile. Now, I think we've already got Barkskin running, do we not? Yeah, we do. So Barkskin's already on the important ones. It's only a minute. That's worth a little bit on you. Is it worth more than Communal Protection from Chaos? Yeah, do you have Communal Protection? You do. Okay.
I'm all ears.
We're probably better off with Sense Vitals though, so we'll hold out for that one. Get Hurricane Bow in. You don't have any buffs worthwhile. That's round per level. 10 minutes per level, we may as well cast it. It's not really going to help here though. It's a minute. Oh, Archon's Aura is minute per level. Well, there you go. Okay. Let's go all the second levels, it's only a single minute. Owl's Wisdom. It'll help Emerylda's saves. And, well, DCs, I mean. Let's go with Bull Strength on Sealer. Her get some hits. You didn't have anything else to cast, did you, Lan? Aspect of the Falcon. Let's get Magic Fang onto your dog. Your other one is minute per level, but it's also a taunt. And so we'll throw in a Bless. Okay, all the spells are down. That was nothing that was going to be useful against, so we're done with Emerylda, we're done with Sealer. Are we? 1 minute per power level. We might enact your Divine Weapon Bond actually. What have we got? We've got Keen or Flaming. We'll just go with Keen. Let's enact your Divine Bond there.
What'll it be, Lan? The bartender asks.
Aspect of the Falcon. We're done with you.
Oh, yes, what?
Cat's Grace will help Sealer's AC.
Let me help.
That's another Bull Strength, so Lan can have that one. Alright. Okay, that should do us. That's a fair amount of pre-buffing.
Knight Commander, I
okay, let's get into this fight. Alright, so I need to relocate my guys down here because we have... so Ciel's copped the taunt. Okay, because we have the second group's going to come down here and they're going to keep flowing in this way. So we want to try and fight them from back here if we can. So who am I doing now? We got Lan. Did I get all your buffs up? Yeah, I think I did. Pretty sure I did. So these are all Half-Fiend Gargoyle Hunters. Which one has not acted, or which one's acting next, I should say? That one.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
Okay. So we want to pull back and cast as we go. Now, let's throw down and entangle this way. And then move away. Regil wants to go in first, that's fine. I've got no problems at all with Hellknights throwing their lives away. Okay. So they just can't hurt them. And here they go. Straight for Emerylda again. Even though she's right at the back. Okay. There's no point dispelling anything here or doing anything along those regards. So what we're going to try and do is put this one here to sleep, which we've failed at. So I thought that was a 5-foot step. My bad. Lucky it missed. Okay, let's see if we can deal with this one, because we need to get... Did you really smite this gargoyle and then charge this one? Alright, you deserve a stupidity award, that's for sure. Okay, let's get our haste, our first haste up and running at any rate. We'll bring you around this way, right at the back, Nenya. What happened there? Why did he get an attack of opportunity? Because he fought him with an unarmed strike. Yeah, good work. Let's get prayer down. And bring you around this way. Alright, I'm going to form a little bit of a defensive perimeter here. I'm not too worried about these Hellknights. They are not going to do much for us at all.
No glory without risk.
Okay, so Sealer, you can probably stay here. Because that sort of puts you on the front, but we do need to worry about this. I'm not sure how important it is going to be to keep these guys alive, but it's certainly not a priority of mine.
Survive me.
Okay, nice work, Lan. Okay, here we go. Here's the second wave coming in. Now, Emerylda. This is where we want you, so they're not doing energy damage, so we are going to summon your leopard. And try and get you towards the back. Yeah, if you want to go wading through that, you can. That's fine by me. We're going to drop a slow on this group. Is that another spawn up here, is it? Jeez, they're really just going all out on Emerylda again, aren't they? I'm not sure why they're so hell-bent on killing her. Right, so they're all still alive. Full health, even. Yeah, look at them, they're just full-on targeting Emerylda. Okay. This is going to make things very difficult. Slow is probably the best debuff I can throw at the moment. We might have to run this fight again looking at this, because they've just gone full on trying to kill her again. Alright, so this is social this time. You've already got everything going that you can. Protection from evil communal will help here. I'm not going to move you because you're kind of right in the thick of it. Now, Sealer though. We need to deal with this group, but I also need to prevent these ones coming through, but that's... Potentially these guys will be able to stop them coming through. Maybe I should have Dazzling Displayed to debuff them again. Okay, this one's going social, that's alright. Come on, Lan. Nice work. Alright, I need you to keep moving around the back. Another smite on... Was that another smite on Emerylda? I think it was, yeah. Okay, Emerylda, what are you going to do here? We can attempt to put one to sleep. And 5-foot step you away. We got another one here we still need to deal with, and then we just got to get you further back. So Ember, can you drop this one for us? Okay. Alright, now we can form a bit of a defensive pocket here. So you've got that smited. Alright, start bringing that one down. Oh my god, they just really want her dead. They just definitely want her dead, don't they? Alright, we'll get displacement on her again. We'll do what we can to try and buff her defenses, because I don't know how... I don't get why these gargoyles are so hell-bent on killing her, but it's frustrating, that's for sure. Okay, that's a good hit. Didn't get the kill though. Is some full attack going to be better than a guaranteed crit? Probably not. Yeah, okay, cool. Well then, start with that one, because then you'll get the... Oh, come on. Or just miss everything, that's fine too. Alright, Emerylda is still down, but we should be able to sort that out shortly. Okay, good. The attack opportunity brought him down. Ember, you can actually bring her up. It's not your primary role, but let's get Emerylda back in this fight. Keep you engaged. And we've got a new wave coming this way, that's fine. So we're going to hide in the corner here. God, you're just really trying to kill her, aren't you? What can we do then? Old person's not going to work for you. Already got haste running. Forgot to take the bug net off of my toolbar and the bug pit, but we can drop a web down there. At least buy us time from this wave. Okay, I can't believe the Hellknights didn't even come into the battle with cold iron weapons. Alright, start healing us up, Social. And form the front line with the other two fighters. I might even bring you this way. Let's get Sealer into this fight. We need to bring this down. These guys are going to get slaughtered. There's not much they can do.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
Where can we go? We just want to kind of keep you in the way. I don't want the gargoyles just to walk past us here. Alright, Emerylda, stand up. And let's see if we can start slumbering some of these guys and get you back. We missed a couple of turns there because I have a spectator that wanted to help me out. Hey, Monty. And we accidentally paused, didn't we? So what do you think? What should we do here? We've done a couple of rounds. We've had a couple more gargoyles come in. We've moved Sealer. We glitter dusted a bunch on the left flank there. But what are you thinking? What should our next play be? I don't think he's going to help us out here. No, you can't go on my keyboard. Here. Go back that way. Okay, so he's just going to be moral support then by the looks of that. Sealer doesn't need to heal herself. What we could do though, we could pop a... We don't need protection. We've already got a deflection bonus running, so Shield of Faith won't help us. What do we actually have? Resist Fire won't help us. We could pop a Potion of Enlarge. It's probably not a bad choice in this situation. I don't think that's a bad choice at all, actually. So let's just pop that potion, and we're going to have all these engaged. It'll give Sealer reach and give her more damage as well. But there's not much else that she can do here yet. She can't target them. Oh, I can. No, I can't target them yet because they haven't fully arrived. Okay, so they actually arrived this turn. So now they're technically here. Hopefully this group can be held at bay, because Lan, we need to start focusing this High Cleric as a priority. Bring this High Cleric down ASAP. Okay, they need nat 20s to hit Sealer. She's in the right spot, and that's for sure. Okay, let's try and put some of these gargoyles down. I guess High Cleric's save will be too high, so let's drop the other ones. Regil might die here, but I can't say that it's going to be too heartbreaking. Alright, let's Misfortune the High Cleric. Made his save. It's a bit unfortunate, so now let's... Can we get in there? We can. One attack of opportunity, not a problem. Oh, he did the damage. Okay, I just didn't see the animation. Okay, Nenyo. Grease will not work here, so pretty much just going to have to resort to some reliable magic missile damage. Not massive amounts, but... Alright, Sealer copped the negative energy, but she killed the High Cleric with the attack of opportunity. So that's good, because we can prepare Restoration. We don't have Restoration ready. Actually, Emerylda might. We might have a scroll. Do we have a scroll of it? Glitter Dust, remove sickness, remove disease. It's the same picture as those. Fairy Fire. No, we may not actually have that scroll. So we probably have to prepare it as a spell, but that's fine. Let's coup de grace this downed one. We'll take an attack of opportunity. Oh no, they mustn't have had an attack of opportunity ready. Alright, Sealer. Save your smite. I'm pretty sure that High Cleric was going to be the last one, but...
The light take you.
That was terrible. Well, at least you're not taking a whole lot of damage. These guys definitely are over here. But, to be honest, not my problem right now. Alright, Lan, nice work. Alright, this is working out a lot better. Although now they're starting to come this way. We do need to free up this so Sealer can get over here. Can we do this guy? Okay. Start sleeping that side. Because Regil's down. He doesn't look like he's dead. Alright, now we're starting to clean up a bit. Yeah, smite that one, and do you want to attack it? You're stuck in the net web, are you? Where are you? Yeah, you're stuck in the web. Okay. Do we want to clear the web? I think we do. It's just affecting Null at the moment. And we're going to need Null to help deal with this side. The Regil's obviously unkillable because he is standing up, taking the damage, and not dying. Our haste is worn off, so we do need to recast that. We might throw a slow on this flank as well. We can throw a dispel there as well. They've dropped down some... Where's that cleric? Our Fiend Gargoyle Cleric just threw some buffs. Must be out of my line of sight. Because I can't see a Half-Fiend Gargoyle Cleric anywhere. Ah, come on, Sealer. It's 5 misses in a row. Okay. That's okay. Lan can handle a little bit of aggression.
Make every strike count.
This one's down. Alright, who's this? Emerylda. Okay. Keep putting them to sleep as they come around that corner. Is that a new one? Do we have 2 down there before? Or has he already woken up? There we go. Might have already woken up. Let's... Can you reach the coup de grace? That one. You can. It's fine. It's another one down. Okay, and then, you know, this is where we need haste again, because we're starting to go slow again. And we don't want that. So this is... Oh, it looks like he's fully dead now. Yeah, Regil looks like he's... Oh no, he's still appearing on the damage tracker. So yeah, but he's invulnerable. Okay. Cool, I suppose. Can you reach that guy? You cannot. So just come in here. The cleric's in there somewhere, but I still can't see him.
Into the fray.
That's better, Sealer. It'd be nice for you to get a few more hits. That's 1 out of about 10 attacks. That's pretty poor accuracy. Oh no, I just want you to sidestep this way a little bit, Lan. 5 foot, yep.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
That's the way. Okay, start putting the fire into the main fight. Still can't see the cleric, can we? He must be right at the back. Okay, let's drop this then. Top us all up. It's really just Emerylda now that's carrying a bit of damage from when they focused her earlier on. Let's just keep putting them to sleep. I'm not going to attack them yet, so Nenyo, come around to here. A couple of clerics at the back. Drop that slow on, and we've missed one of the clerics. Check on their saves. What's their saves like? Plus 11 will. Okay, so we're not really going to be doing a whole amount of sleeping on them. Yeah, Regil just can't die, can he? How long's that entangle got left, I wonder? I mean, this is hilarious that Regil is unkillable and we can just sit here and take advantage of it. But
No mercy for the wicked.
okay, not sure why you woke up already, but now, what are we going to do with these gargoyles? I guess we could get another... I already moved, haven't I? The whole person. Yeah, I don't have anything else worth casting there. I mean, if I'm going to try anything, I might as well try and put them to sleep. If they make their save, they make their save. If they don't make their save, it takes them out of the fight. So it's always worth save or suck spell. Yeah. Even though they do have a good chance of making it. Totally not what I wanted you to do, but whatever. Go in there then. So you're out of useful second levels. First levels, sorry. Third levels? Oh my god. What do we have that's going to help us out here then? Probably not a huge amount. Prayer, I think, is only rounds per level, but I think we've kind of got this fight under control. I'd say this fight is under our control now. And I know I've said that before and it has gone poorly, but this time I genuinely believe it. So let's just drop some damage. Oh, I could use a dispel, couldn't I? Alright, Social. Kill this one if you can. Thank you. Yeah, that's fine. Negative energy channels are not massively painful right now. That would be a waste.
Without risk.
Okay, let's wade into that entangle. We might even have to drop the entangle now that we're in here. So it's going to start affecting us, but that's okay. Emerylda is here, and it is her turn, and it is her entangle. So let's dispel that. Now we can get in on these two clerics. Regil is still going. He's actually still fighting. Okay. Let's try and drop the other one. There we go. We got the slumber off. You might as well cackle, because why not? Get Gnarl in there. Nenyo. Don't have Dispel Magic prepared. Want the standing one, there we go. So Ciel, you can come in there too. Yeah, that's really not your most efficient use of your actions.
The inheritor, guide my blade.
Alright. That's pretty much under control. We're going to wake him up, so let's just put the damage on him while we can. And let's lower his AC, because he's probably just going to stand up and use his... Oh, that was pretty good, Regil. Misfortune him? And made his save. Smite him, and move in, that should finish him. Not quite. Oh, let's death by magic missile, shall we? No! Death by glaive. There we go. Jeez. Man, that was a level up out of it though. That was an intense fight. With essentially no loot. Wow. What do we got here? Headband of Inspired Wisdom +2. What are we wearing on our head? Nothing. Well, let's put it on. It's not going to affect us at the moment because we are under the effects of Owl's Wisdom. Let's... Is anyone really injured? Not really, so we can drop a heal just to top us all off. We'll go check that out later. We have quite a few survivors, surprisingly. Where's Regil? Did he eventually succumb to his wounds, did he? Oh, there he is. Let's see what he's got to say. Regil gracefully stows his weapon and places his hands behind his back. You two, check the area. Mark any potential shelters that offer protection against aerial attacks. Quartermaster, inventory the remnants of the camp. I want to make sure that the gargoyles only abducted people and weren't interested in anything else. Send messengers immediately to our scout squads and order them to return to camp. And I need a full list of casualties. The sooner the better. All business, this guy. He turns to you and nods slightly. Commander, your arrival was well timed. Now we can finally talk. I am quite interested in the events that occurred at the Grey Garrison, and I suppose you have questions for me as well. What do you want to know about what happened at the Grey Garrison? Any shift in the balance of power during this war has a direct impact on my mission. If a new player appears who is capable of fighting demons effectively, then I am ready to support that person with all the resources I have at my disposal. Regil speaks pensively, as if talking to himself. But naturally I cannot blindly trust a stranger, even when marked by the gods. So again, let's think about which one of these fits Emerylda best, because none of them are going to fit her directly. The gods bless me with an incredible gift and Kring. Yeah, see, this is not really. She doesn't have the pride for that. She doesn't really care what Regil thinks. You have every right to doubt. I usually don't trust strangers. Well, she would say he has every right to doubt, but it's not because she doesn't trust strangers. It's because she doesn't really care whether she believes her or not. So it's kind of a mixture of 2 and 3 we want to go with. So we'll go with, you have every right to doubt, but I don't care whether you believe me. Regil seems entirely unoffended by the harshness of your response. A perfectly reasonable position, and you are well within your rights. Although if I were you, I wouldn't chase off potential allies so quickly. See, I'm not trying to chase off potential allies. It's just the choices I'm being given. Is there anything you'd like to know before we move on to more serious issues? Well, she definitely doesn't want to join the ranks of the Hellknights. Hellknights are here because they fight against chaos and the demons, so that's fine. Paralictor is the head of the Hell Knight Order. We're not done talking about your atrocities. That's interesting. She did see him execute the wounded. Personally, he did that for a reason. He's doing his job. Emerylda would see that as well, and it's not her place. She would also think they were atrocities, but it's not her place to do anything about it. But let's bring it up. Let's see where it goes. We're not done talking about your atrocities. Of course. The Paralictor doesn't seem hurt or surprised. If you wish, I will explain my position in detail. All of the soldiers killed at my order belong to my unit. Therefore, the case is an internal matter for the Order of the Godclaw. You could have sent an appeal to the Order commanders, but the result is inevitable. Not only do the Order's rule and field operations guidelines not prohibit it, they even recommend a policy of death is preferable to captivity. So everything that happened, though it is surely lamentable and has deprived me of a few good fighters, is also a prime example of military necessity. Well, of course, atrocities don't matter if you have a piece of paper that says committing atrocity is allowed. We don't want to kill him, and we don't think his rules are abomination. I cannot influence your internal rules, but I hope you understand where the jurisdiction of your order ends and ours begin. I think this actually fits Emerylda best, but it's not really the phrasing she would use. It's more of an aggressive stance. I think Emerylda would be more likely to offer maybe a diplomatic discussion around the rules. Of course, you have the right to personal opinions and operations. If the incident is settled, I suppose we can return to relevant matters. What are you going to do now, after the gargoyle attack? I'll wait my remaining fighters to return. What you see here is only a small part of my forces. As for my long-term plans, that depends on the results of our conversation, Commander. Reginald narrows his eyes. Before we move on to serious subjects, I'd like to address an organizational issue regarding my unit. You may wish to be present. Jaeger steps forward and salutes with a clenched fist to the chest. Paralictor, permission to report. During the first gargoyle attack, I determined it necessary to leave my post. I swam over the river, found the commander's army, and asked them to provide assistance. The reinforcements were much needed. You will earn a double salary for your resourcefulness, Jaeger, and 100 lashes for abandoning your post. The young knight grows a little pale, but immediately salutes again. Yes, Paralictor! There's interesting options. Don't forget he abandoned his armor. We could mention that, but we're just getting him in more trouble. See, now we've gone too passive. So the responses before were too aggressive. Now we've gone too passive. I'd rather this be something like an assertive. It is foolish and overly harsh to punish Jaeger for leaving his post when he did it to bring help, rather than a question. It would be foolish and harsh, but entirely lawful to execute him for desertion. Rigel peers at Jaeger with his pale yellow eyes. Did you know the location of the commander's squad, Knight? No, Paralictor. I assumed I might meet friendly groups on the other side of the river, but I couldn't know for sure. You see, Commander? Of course, I could be gracious and look the other way. That would mean that during the next battle, 10 or 20 of my people will think it's high time they ran to get help. Initiative requires reasonable limits. Not to mention, 100 lashes is hardly a punishment for a true Hell Knight. I'd say it's more a spiritual warm-up. Jaeger gives you a serious look. Thank you for your concern, Commander, but I do not wish to evade fair punishment. I wouldn't be a Hell Knight if I did. Are these guys made of stone or what? They seem creepy, but I kind of like them. Everything is so strange. They march in columns through the thicket, even though there's a regular smooth road nearby. I'll never understand this pointless cruelty, and I never want to. Regil, who has watched you closely throughout the entire conversation, nods to himself. Now, for a more delicate issue. You, Commander, were interested in our dispute with the Knights of the Order of Sunrise Sword, correct? Their forces in Canabra suffered a great loss in the demon attack, and now their leader has perished and his troops are in trouble. They are reeling with no command structure. Their order will hardly be able to recover from the losses they've suffered. Now this is where, two options again. Emerylda would like to offer them a position within our army, but we don't have that option, so what are you getting at? These finders aren't the finest material I've worked with, but I've assumed full command over them. I'll be able to reforge them into weapons of reasonable quality. One or two might even become true Hellknights, the rest will be put to good use as well. Okay, so we can argue with him whether you're going to follow him or not. What does this have to do with me? This is probably a good one too, because Emerylda would bring them into the fold. This is also a good one. No one but them has the right to decide their fate. That's probably actually a better one for Emerylda. Because bringing them into the army sounds like it's being forced. So that one, it's not an Emerylda one, but I like that one. Okay. No one but them has the right to decide their fate. Talk to them directly. Get your answer. Regil looks at the warriors in white and yellow, shifting cheerlessly from one foot to the other. Initiates of the Sunrise Sword, your leader is dead. The Order has suffered serious losses and will not be able to recover. You may return to Mendev to join another Crusade Order and hope they don't meet the same fate as the Sunrise Sword. Or you may remain under my command. I will not promise that it will be easy or that our war making will be constricted by your principles. What I can promise is this. Under my command, you will never again feel like helpless mice in the talons of a ravenous raptor. Does that mean we've worked off the precious resources you spent on us? The water, medicine, and bandages? Oh, yells one of the knights in white and yellow. Oops, I didn't really yell at that. I wouldn't make such an offer if I thought you were useless garbage. The initiative of the Sunrise Sword consult with each other for a time, and then one of them, a young woman in knight's armor, steps forward. Thank you for your trust, Paralictor. We will stay, and are ready to obey your orders. Okay, if they're willing to do it. Fine. In due course, I will review your troops and make any necessary decisions regarding your role in my unit. Regil turns to you. And now, Commander, for the most important issue, cooperation between our forces. We do have a common enemy and a common battlefield. Okay. Perception check passed. You're looking at me strangely, Paralictor, when we discussed Jaeger's punishment and when we were deciding the fate of the Sunrise Sword. It's as if you're testing me. Regil lowers his head, a gesture that might be read as respectful. I do not believe I made any attempt to conceal my interest in you, both as a new strong leader in the region and as the bearer of a highly unusual power. Of course, I'd like to know what's inside your head. One could say that that's my duty. My army and I are going to Dresden to free the city from demons. You can join forces with us. Regil rubs his chin pensively. Dresden! An ambitious goal, but most reasonable. Imagine how such a victory would rally all the separate bands of today's Crusaders under one banner, and we certainly need a base of operations inside the World Wound. I stand ready to support you. Moreover, I can accompany you on your campaign. However, I would remind you that the Hellknights are outside of Mendev's jurisdiction. My unit and I will join your forces and obey your orders, but only for as long as I deem that our goals coincide. I like his eyes. They're still bright. Neither the darkness nor the paleness has taken them, for now. So that's a cool little reference there. So the darkness, because he's working with the Hellknights fighting against the demons, and the paleness is because he's a gnome, and gnomes go through what they call the bleaching when they start to lose joy in life and they start to go pale. So it's cool to have that little reference there. Hell no, we don't need the likes of these black armored statues. I don't want to fight side by someone who will slit my throat if I'm weak and wounded. You can't defeat one evil by inviting an equal but slightly more organized evil into your ranks. Slightly more organized than the demons? I would consider that an insult. I've never dealt with Hellknights before, but from what I've seen, they are serious fighters. That's just what we need. And just think how that armor will look in the paintings they'll make about our battles. I don't see why we would turn down the help. I get Sealer's perspective. Some Hellknights are evil. Regil is clearly evil. However, I don't think Emerylda has an issue with evil fighting against evil for a common cause. While she is good aligned, she's not a paladin. So we're going to make a deal. We'll make a deal with the Hellknights. Yes, Commander. My forces and Regil Derenge are at your disposal. Does he actually join me as a party member? Oh, he does. Well, I don't want him in the party. I want him to lead his army. Adamantine foreplay +2. We can take that off you. on Sealer. We don't want you in the party. We want your army though. Because I fully support Sealer, we don't want him fighting alongside us in the battles to come. Can we make this jump?
Well, this didn't go well.
Well, we made it down. We got ring of protection +2. The skeleton of a man wearing armor from the time of the First Crusade is holding the skeleton of a child with strange proportions and animal paws instead of its right arm and leg. You've met the ability... What? You've met the enemy Sealer. Oh. What is this guy doing down here? We're still alive! Praised be Serenray! Okay. Let's drop a heal again, because we hurt ourselves falling down that hole. And then we'll climb back up. No? Climb back up. Now, was there anything else in here that we had to look at? Doesn't look like it, just a heap of dead gargoyles. Let's get back to camp so we can do this level up. And maybe steal some of Regel's gear to pass around the party. Is there anything else left to do here? Area exit. Cool. Okay, half plate can stay. Yep, nothing else. And I had a comment from B again. Looks like I have missed something at the camp. Maybe a bit of Nenio's story arc. So I might need to go sort that out. Now what do we have here? Here we go. Let's get the Hellknights into... okay. Setsuna Shy. Okay. Let's get you. Oh, I can't afford it. I don't have enough. But then Hellknights, are you going to be better than what we have here? Yeah, you are quite good. What are these guys? Unarmed Strike. Wow, you guys are completely useless. Swap you out for sure. Wait, what is the point of you guys? 1d3 plus 4 damage. Okay, so they're just there to tank. Okay. Maybe I'll bring you back in. We need you to get more Master of Maneuver. Not sure how big I want these armies to grow. Nope. How do I switch army? Like this. It says level 3 and level 7 demon army down there, so let's move up here. No, we don't want... Wait, no. This is not a fight that we want. Oh well. Is there a retreat? Yep, there we go. How was I supposed to know that it was going to take me all the way to that battle? Okay, you can stay down there. Alright, we're not worried about you yet. So let's get the party back to the camp. We'll have to find Nenio. I must have missed Nenio's conversation because we don't have Nenio's quest. So we'll have to see what else we missed. We might have missed a couple of story arcs from some of our other party members. So we'll jump in, have a bit of a look, do our level up. Let's see where we're at. Happy to serve, Commander. Okay, let's see if Lan has anything to say new. Okay, so we might need to actually go into a little bit of conversation with these characters to get some of their story. So let's go through it. Tell me about your people, Lan. Of course, what would you like to know? Oh my god. What's it like living in your caves? Oh! Lan gives you a broad smile. His smile is strange, as if it falters where his human features meet his animal ones. Imagine that in the entire world there's only a few hundred like you. There's not an inch of fertile ground anywhere. Nowhere to grow grain for bread, or cotton for cloth. Your neighbours are beasts who want to eat you, or parasites who want to infect you with their larvae, and then eat you. And it's not that bad, because you can try to eat most of the things that are trying to eat you. Sometimes at the risk of getting poisoned, sometimes with no threat at all. In the worst years, there's not a single living thing to be found, predator or prey. That's when you eat mushroom soup. I'd say 3 times a day, but there was barely enough for once every 3 days. Lan shrugs. But life underground has its upsides. Unintended. There's no risk of losing the roof over your head. There's no bad weather, not counting the earthquakes, of course. Thanks. I found out everything I wanted to know. One of these is going to trigger his story, so let's try a couple of them. What do you think of what happened in the Grey Garrison? Do you feel a change in yourself? It's hard not to notice when the demons start running away from you like a flock of frightened bats. Powers granted by Omade to defeat demons? Lan raises his hand above his head and pensively scratches behind his single horn. Since I was a kid, I've taken whatever I've been given and used it as best I can. Anything goes when you're trying to survive. It doesn't matter where your blessings come from. We can think about that when we're old, if we live that long. But you know, this time I'm not so sure. A divine power that just appeared out of nowhere? Sooner or later we'll have to pay for it, and I'd like to know what the price will be. You said you were prepared to risk your life to do something meaningful. What exactly did you mean? To invent a new salad and have it named after me, Lamb remarks grimly. Then he sighs. Truth be told, I don't know. It would be much easier if all I really wanted was to kill demons, then a few more demons, then more demons after that. Good, honest rage and no needless brooding. I think I actually envy the warriors who can live like that. But I can't. If life's taught me anything, it's that there are no easy choices. Dying a glorious death isn't enough. Some heroes of the Crusades did that and also saved entire settlements, erected the wardstones. Their actions kept the lands of Mended safe for decades. That's what I want. For my dumb, short life to have meant something. You think I have an exaggerated opinion myself? Some scaly freak crawls out of the caves and wants to take control of the wardstones and flaunt Iomede's banner? Any fool can charge to the front lines of demonic armies and die there, but what good will that do? I want something meaningful, you know? Even if I have to pay the highest price. Especially if I have to pay it. There are plenty of worthier people who need to survive this war and tell everyone what nutcases we were. Okay, what do you think of life on the surface? Must be very different from life underground. Of course! As far as living conditions, the surface is definitely a better place to be. It's easier to get good food and water, not to mention build a house and even grow a few things. In older, well-established settlements, you don't have to deal with anything scarier than rats, or maybe foxes stealing chickens. As for the kind of life you live, I heard a story about demon worshippers abducting a whole family and sacrificing them one by one while the others watched. But there were some brave Crusader knights nearby, and they killed the villains and saved everyone. I heard another story. The young blacksmith lost his arm in a fire, couldn't work to feed his wife and baby. They tried their best and lived from hand to mouth, but they were still destitute. In the end, the desperate blacksmith robbed a traveller one night on the road, but there were some brave Crusader knights nearby, and they caught the robber and threw him into prison. Not long after, his wife smothered their baby and hanged herself. Up here, the same person can proudly say he's protecting the innocent from demons, and then look the other way while the same innocent starves just because they were born into a poor family. Queen Galfrey prolongs her life with sun-orchid elixirs that cost enough to feed an entire city. There you go, I thought about that before. Back in our caves, everyone is equally poor, and if one person starves, the whole tribe starves. We don't abandon our own in times of trouble. That's the power of a tribe. The laws of the surface are made so that some get everything and others get nothing. I might just be a naive fool from the caves, but I don't understand how it's possible to have so much more and share so much less. Anyway, look who I'm talking to. You must know life on the surface much better than I do. Let's have a look here and see if any of them fit Emerylda. I'd never leave any person in trouble. I've been given more than most, which means I'm now more able to help others. We're in a struggle for our very survival against the abyss. There's no time to upend society in a quest for fairness. Oh yes, I also have a few questions for our feckless aristocracy. Stop whining. I didn't choose what family I was born into, I just live with what I've got. Emerylda does have a lot now. She came from nothing, similar to Lan. Lived off the land on the surface, very similar in that regard. So this kind of makes sense. That doesn't make... yeah. I also came from nothing, but now what I have I can give back to others. So much better response. A fitting reply. Don't take my words as a reproach. I like grumbling as much as cracking jokes. Lan is obviously trying to muster a friendly smile, but it's an expression his face doesn't accommodate very naturally. Thank you for your answers. So long. Okay, so we need to find everybody else, because there might be a few other story arcs we haven't triggered. Now here's all the Hellknights in our camp. Okay. Okay, Regil stands with his hands behind his back, his favourite pose it would seem. He seems submerged in thought, but gathers himself immediately as you approach. His pale yellow eyes examine you inquisitively. Knight Commander, it is good you found time to meet me. As a matter of some urgency I must discuss with you. It was incredibly interesting the power that you and your companions received during the fight at the Grey Garrison, and now my interest has been gratified. The power your companions received is passed on to me as well. It manifested at my usual evening reckoning. I believe I now present a true threat to the creatures and initiates of chaos. The imprisoned cultists we kept for certain observations experienced this firsthand. Regil's voice is unemotional, almost bored, but leaves no doubt as to the cultist's fate. Striking, isn't it? Divine intervention at a critical moment is rare, but not beyond imagining. But in this case, part of the power that you received through this intervention has passed to someone who joined you well after that fateful moment had passed. Interesting. Seems to me like you're trying to find some pattern in there. Sort of a miracle is just a miracle. Given to me others for a good cause to protect this miserable world from demons. Why is that evil? Seems more lawful than evil. Not that our alignment matters for Emerylda, so we can pick whatever we like. Seems like you're trying to find some pattern in this. What if a miracle is just a miracle? Miracles do not exist, Regil replies sternly. In the end, every so-called miracle turns out to be a manifestation of someone's will. Besides, it might have been a blind accident, but not in the accidental acquisition of great power in the exact moment when it was most needed. In any case, this is shallow philosophizing. You must have some questions for me. Do you have a plan or strategy for the war against the demons? A spark flashes in Regil's eyes. I have a clear idea of the forces I shall require to wage effective war against the Whirlwind. Currently I do not possess them, but I know what steps I must take. We must amass and fortify, gather scouting information, resolve certain problems of an organizational nature. Once the problem of Dresden is solved, I shall direct some of my knights to prepare an outpost for the party. We've already scouted a suitable location, the ruins of an old shrine which still holds the remnants of an ancient power and is thus a lure for demons. An excellent foothold for honing our skills and studying the enemy. That is my next goal. Thank you for speaking with me. Until next time. Okay, so he's going to hopefully be good for the war. Maybe not so good for people, but... Alright, Ember. Here we go. Ember is bobbing her head and humming a tune. She greets you with a carefree, cheerful smile. Her wondering eyes linger on you for just a moment before darting off again into the distance. How are you handling your new abilities? Abilities? The girl tilts her head to her shoulder. What are you talking about? Oh, the tricks you learned when the big grey house blew up. They're funny. Thanks for teaching them to me. All she can do is ignore fire resistance. The Queen gave me the title of Knight Commander and put me in charge of an army. What do you think about that? The elf focuses her wondering gaze on your eyes, smiles and shakes her head. Don't believe titles. All of us in the world are children of the street. Barefoot, hungry, scared, a step away from death. Some imagine they're strong and rich like gods, but don't forget who you really are behind the titles. Do the soldiers still rely on you for help? Even more than before. They come to me, ask me questions, wanting advice. I don't think I ever say anything clever, but sometimes it helps them. That's what matters, right? Your words helped me back then too. I'm still scared that I'm going to say something wrong, but if you believe in me, that means I'm doing the right thing, right? And I believe in our fighters, so they have to win. I have to go, so go! The elf watches you with a radiant smile as you leave. Irabeth. Alright, what do we got? Naradendawar's tent. Tirablade's tent. Trying to find... So maybe you got something? Look who it is! Hi! Tell me about yourself. The girl shrugs with a lazy smile. I'd be happy to, but there's kind of nothing to tell. What's so interesting about me? Yes, you don't go asking that. It's not... It's a bit yeah, we don't want to ask her all these questions. It's not really our place, but we will steal her jewelry. Okay, so where is Nenio hiding? Do we have anyone in here? Nope, no one's in here. Wait, outside, yeah. Arrow exit probably takes us out to the outside world. Leota Hawkblade. What are you doing again? I can't even remember. Ah, okay. I've talked to Darren about this estate. He's going to celebrate his birthday at Heaven's Edge, so we can go there as guests. A celebration? That is far from ideal. It would be rather inconvenient for me to conduct the investigation with all the guests around. Thank you nonetheless, Commander. When you decide to go to the estate, I will join you. I have to go. Social, about the chapel. No, nobody in here. Do you have anything we need to talk to you about, Social? Social is painting a cleric and his young acolyte. He skillfully conveys a contrast between wise maturity and fervent youth, while also expressing the deep faith that unites the pair. Social notices you and lowers his brush. Commander. Good afternoon, Commander. How can I help you? Tell me about yourself. To be honest, I don't have much to tell. I had done little with life until I met you, but if you want to know anything, just ask. Where are you from? From Andoran. I grew up in the outskirts of Carpenden, a large, rich city surrounded by gardens and vineyards. Just imagine, miles and miles of greenery and fragrant orchids. Zosiel inhales with pleasure, as if he could still sense the aromas of his faraway homeland. My family had a small winery. I worked there from a young age. I pressed juice, did a little carpentry, painted, and one day I discovered I could do more with paint than simply cover walls with it. There was a temple of Shaman nearby. My brother and I would often spend our days there, listening to music and enjoying the stained-glass windows. As a boy, my brother decided to devote himself to serving the eternal rose. Our parents hoped that at least I would remain to run the family business, but he makes an apologetic gesture and flashes a disarming smile. It can't be helped. The goddess called me too. It's all right. I have plenty of cousins, second cousins, and other relatives. When this war is over, I'll go back there and see how they're doing. So you're an artist? The cleric smiles shyly. That's too grand a word for it, but yes, I love to paint and I know how to. Of course, a crusade isn't the best place for art. What I managed to draw here is at best sketches. I hope when this war is over, I'll be able to turn them into real painting. Fascinating. May I see your sketches? There is nothing special in them, but if you're really interested. Social hands you a folder filled with pencil sketches. You recognize familiar fighters in some of the portraits. The cleric drew them without flattery, just as they are. But beneath the features that seem boring and even ugly in life, Social's hand has found inner beauty, power, and dignity. The tired faces of soldiers, covered with wrinkles and scars, resemble an army of angels. There are landscapes in the folder as well. At first you don't understand why these blooming hills, shady groves, and shimmering springs seem so familiar. But you have passed by these places as you travelled around the Whirlwind. Though you saw them darkened and maimed by demonic influence, Social's pencil has restored them to their former beauty, which the demons stole from them, and which the Crusaders are fighting to return. Okay. How did you end up in Canabras? A grim shadow falls over the cleric's face. I was hoping to find Trevor in the city, my brother. I believe Trevor was his husband in the adventure path, so maybe they've turned it into brother to allow Social to be a romance option. After my brother took his vows as he was ordained a paladin of Shaman, he departed for the crusade. He wrote home often about everything he saw, his battles, the people he helped. From his letters I learned that he had joined the Eagle Watch in Canabras, but soon his letters became frequent, and then they stopped altogether. We feared news of his death, but silence was our only answer. Not a word from him, or his command, or his brothers in arms, nothing. In the end I couldn't wait any longer, and I came here myself, to find Trevor if he's still alive, or his grave if he should have perished. But my brother seems to have vanished. I've tried asking the other paladins, but they refuse to talk to me. It's very much like they're trying to avoid the need to lie. I sent official requests to their orders command. Still, I wait in vain for an answer. I joined the local church of Shaman, hoping to find the truth one day, but the city was attacked by demons. You must have loved him very much. How foolish. No. You must love your brother very much to follow him here. You have no idea how much. I would follow him to the end of the world, into the abyss itself if need be. Trevor is an amazing man. I know he's alive. He's too stubborn to die. I hope one day he joins us, and then we will surely triumph. Right. How did you end up at the court of Queen Galfrey? When the city was attacked by demons, there was a hospital in our church. Every one of us was prepared to fight to the last, to cover the evacuation, but our Mother Superior wouldn't let me join the fight. She sent me to help, and everyone who stayed was killed. Why did she choose me? Maybe it was because I was new, the youngest and least experienced of the clerics, and I wouldn't be as much help in battle. Or maybe she was giving me a chance to survive, while the rest of them bravely died. Shall Ellen be my witness? I did not ask for this. I would be honoured to lay my own head next to theirs. I ran to the closest Mendevian garrison. I don't know by what miracle I got there. There were demons all around. Everything was on fire. I remember my horse was killed right under me while I fought off some shrieking monsters. But when I came to, I awoke among friends. My first thought was that it must be a dream. In my delirium, Queen Galfrey herself was dressing my wounds. But it was true. It was the Queen herself, tending to a lowly warrior. That's how I ended up in her army. I marched with them back to Canabras, to the ruins. Okay. What is the servant of a goddess of beauty during in a war zone? I'm doing what the goddess destined me for, to keep our fighters safe. I am confident in our victory. The gods of good are on our side, so we cannot fail. But victory is not enough. I do whatever I can to help those who are holding off the forces of the abyss, so they may live long enough to see victory, without losing themselves along the way. Every one of our soldiers deserves a home where people love them and are waiting for their return. When our soldiers are finally able to go home, on that day I may earn the right to lay down my weapons forever. How is it you look like it going? Yeah, how are you so well dressed? Socio looks down for him a few moments, searching in silence for the right words. At last he softly replies, When I first got here, to the world wound, you know, the word terror doesn't convey half of what I felt. The land here itself is maimed and mutilated, desecrated, but more frightening still is what war does to people, to their bodies and souls. For every knight in shining armour, there are hundreds of warriors whose souls are maimed with fear, suffering, and cruelty. Many have forgotten why they're here, and now only know war. When there's a break in the fighting, they drink themselves into oblivion and wallow in the mud. They are rotting alive and don't even seek help. They gave up on themselves a long time ago. Socio looks you in the face, and you see pain in his eyes. Don't misunderstand me. I don't condemn them. Quite the opposite. I want to help. And to do so, I must look after myself first. Not only to treat and support them, but to remind them that there's something else beside war. There's a normal world out there. A place where blood doesn't stain the ground, and people don't sleep in trenches. A place where, as you said, they even occasionally have tea parties. The cleric smiles, but his eyes seem sad. You do so much to help others. I want you to know whenever you yourself need support, you can count on me. That's a very Emerylda thing to say. That's definitely not Emerylda. Again, that's definitely not Emerylda. Okay. Do so much to help others. I want you to know whenever you yourself need support, you can count on me. Thanks for caring. I'm glad I now have a friend like you. I used to have no one to rely on beside my goddess. A shadow crosses Social's face momentarily, but it's immediately replaced with an inspiring smile. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I promise I won't neglect myself. To serve others, I must have strength. This must be kicking off the romance. Emerylda has no desire for a portrait or spending time with him, so hopefully that isn't to kick off his quest. Thank you for telling me about yourself. Tell me about your brother. Trevor. He's always been my hero, ever since we were children. I was a coward, always telling petty lies, always running away from danger. Trevor always ran toward it. He had this saying, an army stands until peace comes, a lie stands until the truth comes out. He never lied, never let injustice pass, never. The cleric's voice trembles and breaks, and he shakes his head. He was 8 when he said he was going to be a paladin, and he always went toward that goal, day after day, never looking back. I remember the day he went off to fight. I thought, this is it. The war will finally end. Trevor will defeat all the demons and close the world wound, but... Socio gestures helplessly. Thank you for talking to me. My pleasure. Okay. So we do have his story arc to find his brother. Who's this, Darren? Okay. I'm definitely not going to bother talking to you. Pretty sure we did that before anyway. Field medic. Show me the scrolls. Okay, we need to get restoration scrolls again. Let's sell our junk. Scroll of restoration. Where are you? You don't have any scrolls of restoration. Hang on. Oh. Polymorph. Well, that's not good. Scroll Scribers Kit 4, we'll take that. And Alchemist Kit 4, we'll also take that. Oh, that's expensive, isn't it? Ouch. Let's take that one for now. Why don't we have Scrolls of Restoration on here? I thought you had heaps last time I came through. Is this the wrong guy? Is it you? No? Well, that means that we're going to have to... Wait, do we have Restoration? I thought Restoration was 3rd level. Is it a 4th level spell? Must be a 4th level spell. Okay, well we're about to level, so that we will get 4th level spells on Emerylda. Seela looks sad and pensive. It's good to see you. Get this, Jana, the one who ran away when we were attacked by demons, never went back to her unit. She was seen running towards Numeria. Looks like she deserted. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about, or not the only thing. Since our raid on the Houndheart's camp, I've had this sinking feeling that I made a mistake. Dragging you into this, I mean. I should have known that a raid along the edge of the world wouldn't be so easy. But mostly, I was wrong about a lot of people. About Jana, who lost her nerve and abandoned her friends. About Kerr. I knew he was a thief, but I thought he'd turned over a new leaf and deserved a little compassion and trust. And Elan, I thought we were kindred spirits, friends through thick and thin, but looks like I was wrong about him too. Seela looks at you closely, waiting for your answer. Okay. So we tell her not to lose trust in people. Tell her she's made mistakes. Your ideals were... No, definitely not. None of these are really that great, so we're going to go with a good one. Don't lose your trust in people, Seela. Thank you, my friend. I needed that support. Thanks for listening to my grumbling and for helping me get to the bottom of this. I'm not going to leave things as they stand. If I get the chance, I'll track down Jana and see if I can talk some sense into her and find out why Curl did what he did. I can't stop thinking about what Elan told me in the end. I really have become more powerful than paladins who are far more experienced and selfless than me. There's something not right about it. A servant of Iomade should gain their power through dedicated personal effort. It's the only way to make sure they'll use the power for good. Our journey so far, it's all wrong. It means I need to be 3 times as hard on myself now. Okay. Where is Nenio hiding? Maybe that's why we've missed her. We've just done a lap of the camp and I haven't seen her. What do we got here? Leather binding. Well, take them. Just because I don't know how good the barding is on our dog. Nenio, there you are. Girl, I am pleased with you. I asked you to bring me this safely, and that's exactly what you did. Indeed, having a follower to aid me is most efficient and frankly pleasing. With you on hand, I shall conquer new horizons, plumb the depths of knowledge hitherto unknown, and scale into the dizzying heights of future discoveries. Nenio stops to catch her breath. What I mean is, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude. I foresee immense potential in our future cooperation. Happy to help. Hand in hand, we will unravel the greatest mysteries inaccessible to the minds of ordinary people. Just imagine it. I, leading the way, proudly staring into the face of the gods themselves, and you, my loyal follower, walking behind me every step of the way, writing down my deepest thoughts and admiring the profundity of my intellect. If we hold hands, you won't be able to go in front of me and lead the way. You are the catalyst which, when it reacts with my intellect, would allow the latter to grasp the very essence of the universe itself. Do you always express your delight so effusively? What? Who are you? Nenya stares at you for a while, bewilderment in her eyes, but then it is replaced by recognition. Oh yes, my new follower! So what am I supposed to do? Oh yes, I must provide some verbal encouragement for your as yet modest achievements to try and induce you to strive for more of such encouragement. That is the principle that underpins any training. She frowns, but only for an instant. Ah, I see. Your modest nature was unsettled by the overabundance of my gratitude. I do apologize for putting you in such an awkward position. I will never praise you again, unless I forget. But let's get back to the business at hand. Your new assignment will be take me to the inconspicuous ruins that are located in an even more inconspicuous valley lying between Canabras and Dresden, as soon as it is reasonably practicable. I'll mark the place on your map with a large red cross so you won't forget it. What's so special about these ruins near Canabras? I'm glad you asked. This is my greatest hypothesis, my secret project, and I won't pass up the opportunity to share it with you, because you are my most loyal follower and you are worthy of possessing such knowledge. Nenya rubs her nose, and also because you are the first person to ever ask me about it. Some time ago, I was walking around the border of the Whirlwind and I met a strange person. He was wearing a frayed grey robe and his face was hidden behind an odd white mask. Of course, I didn't miss the opportunity to ask him about his reasons for his absurd appearance, and do you know what he said to me? He said, I am the answer, but what is the question? Then he walked off in the direction of the Whirlwind. I think we met that guy in the market, actually. The next day, I had already forgotten about our first encounter. I had a similar encounter. This time I met an elven woman, judging by the pointy ears sticking out from behind the mask. I am the answer, but what is the question? She said, before taking off toward the Whirlwind. And then I realized everything became clear to me. I know a mystery when I see one. Consider this one of my myriad talents. Nenya rubs the tip of her nose. After all these guises weren't simply on their way to a costume party, were they? After examining several maps, I determined that they were all heading in one direction, to a place not far from Canabras, a place which is marked as Nameless Ruins, even on ancient Sarkorian maps. That's where I need to go. Unraveling the secret of that place will be my greatest discovery. It will secure my place in history, or perhaps even legend. What do you expect to find there? I haven't the slightest idea. If I knew what was hidden there, I wouldn't be so eager to go. You know, these ruins of yours may turn out to be just that, ruins. Nenya shrugs. In that case, we'll write this experiment off as a failure and start another one. I don't know which experiment I'll try next. She told us this. How do you know where we have to go? How do you find a beehive in a forest? You need to catch 2 bees, set them free in 2 different locations of the forest, and remember the directions they fly in. Then you take a map and draw lines showing the bees' routes. The places where the lines intersect will mark the location of the beehive. Fascinating, yes? By the way, forest bees do not make any honey. She kind of told us that already. I used the beehive principle here. For a couple of months I tracked the strange people in the masks and observed the direction in which they were travelling. I collected the coordinates, mapped their estimated routes, and made a discovery. All the routes intersect at the Nameless Ruins not far from Canabras. That's all I wanted to know about your task. Well, now you know. So off we go! Nenya frowns. Don't just make a rhyme. Perhaps I've discovered poetic talent in myself. Let's conduct an experiment. Quickly, say any word and I'll try and find a rhyme for it right away. Iamade. Says Discari, go away! If you play, you need to pay. Every shade of colour grey. Not the best rhymes, don't you think? Well, this experiment was unsuccessful. We learned that I have no poetic talent at all. But it's no reason to despair. Having a gift of poetry in addition to my inexhaustible intelligence would have been a little bit too much. Besides, I am catastrophically busy and have no time to spend on writing poetry. Okay. Tell me about yourself. I am an explorer, a pilgrim, a yet-to-be-recognized scientific luminary, future author of the Encyclopedia Galaranomica, and rector of all Absalom's universities at once. Future rector, I should say. Nenya speaks in one breath as if reeling off a practiced monologue. That information should be enough to satisfy your curiosity, because I doubt I will be able to tell you more than that. You see, the brain of any given individual can only contain a limited amount of facts. I only expend my memory on things that are truly important. The laws of thermodynamics, divine esoterica, planar geography, things that will lead Galarian to a brighter future. Nenio rubs her nose. Besides, what if I make a great discovery, but I won't be able to remember it because my memory is full of outdated or useless information? What a nightmare that would be! What a loss for the whole of Galarian! Where are you from? That information is irrelevant. I've decided to forget it. You have a circle tattooed on your shoulder. What does it mean? Nenio casts a sidelong glance at her shoulder. Oh, that! I do not remember the circumstances of its creation, but I like it. I prefer to think of it as a zero, null, nothing. A center point, an origin of coordinates. It reminds me of how much of the unknown of the world there is to explore. I'll stop torturing you with questions for now. What were we talking about? I'd rather you called me Emerylda. On the grand scale of world history, your name is irrelevant. I have no reason to remember it. But you remember your own name, right? Only so I know what to put for the author's name in my encyclopedia. Are there any names worth remembering? There are, and to my deepest regret, there are too many of them. Nenio heaves a sigh that would befit a grief-stricken old man. The names of gods and demigods, names of rulers, conquerors, and other persons by some related deemed great by the people of Galarian. They etch their names into history, and alas, every self-respecting, educated person must know them. But there are some names I am happy to remember. Great scientists, some of them divine, others mortal, true keepers of knowledge and great experimentalists, the pioneers of knowledge, Irori, Nethys, Arilu Volesh. I didn't expect you to mention Arilu Volesh. Interesting. You think so too? She is the greatest of the greatest. Just imagine. She managed to open a rift from Galarian to the Abyss. No one knew how, no one believed it possible, no one even dreamed of such a thing, and she just did it. It was the experiment of the century. Nenio wipes a tear from her eye. I would have been so happy if I could have been in her place. Of course, some part of Galarian's population died as a result of her experiment, and the Crusaders are still wrestling with its consequences to this day, but the very essence of what Erylu managed to do was a breakthrough of cosmic significance, both figuratively and literally. Sooner or later, the whirlwind will be closed. Peace will return to Galarian. As for the victims of the ongoing war, they will be remembered as unfortunate but unavoidable sacrifices made at the altar of science. Nenio blinks at you, perplexed. We were talking about something? I have to go. Nenio produces a crumpled piece of paper from her sleeves and takes some notes on it. This conversation lasted approximately 5 minutes. She lifts her chin. By the way, did you know that is the exact same the amount of time the Inquisitors of Canabras need to find a defendant guilty? But to shake off Inquisitors chasing you takes 5 times as long. That experiment proved that running while clad in heavy armour is not burdensome for them at all. Okay. Whew, that was a marathon. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap that up there. And we will do our level up and our sleeping next episode. I've forgotten what number we're up to now, so we're just going to hit save. Nenio is a delight, is she not? So we will find out a little bit more about her next episode. Maybe we'll go... Can I see the world map from here? No. We'll go and see how close her quest is. He wants us to do. Level everybody up. Make sure we can get restoration to cure the level drain that we have on Sealer and carry on our mission towards Dresden. So if you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.